Hello viewers, Super GT here. Welcome to a review video for Dirt Rally 2. So I've had the game around about a week now and can finally go over my thoughts on what I really think about it, what I like and what I don't like, and whether or not it's worth your hard-earned cash. If you have any questions about the game, then do ask in the comments down below. And if you're new to the channel, then maybe consider subscribing if this video is in any way useful. Okay, we'll start off with the basic stuff, so the physics and the graphics and the content overall. So the physics, let's start with that. Now I've tried it on the wheel and the controller. I think a lot of you may be wondering whether or not it's playable on the controller. I think we all know that it really is playable on the wheel. It definitely is playable on the wheel. I've had a really good experience on the wheel. But also after playing on the controller, I think it's definitely playable on the controller. And this is with the base settings. Normally, most games like this, simulation racing games, you have to kind of tweak the settings a little bit. But with the base settings, I was actually finding absolutely fine with the controller. So for those of you who are worried about that, then I would definitely say that you can play this game on a wheel and a controller. That isn't something you have to worry about if you don't have a wheel. But having said that, most of my gameplay was done on the wheel, and to be honest, it's absolutely amazing. The physics are really, really good on this game, and arguably I think it might be the best thing about the game. The fact that it's actually quite difficult to really master this game, so there's always something to learn. So I feel the overall premise with this game really is that you're always trying to improve what you've done before. So there's always this feel that, okay, I've done a stage, it was pretty good, but I could have done it better. And part of that process is trying to get on terms with the physics, which are good. They're accessible, so I still think that if you're playing for the first time, you can still get on board with them. But to truly master the game, it will take quite a long time, which is something that I really like. In terms of the graphics, now this is something that I don't think we really have to talk too much about. It looks really good. It looks very spectacular. On a lot of my gameplay, I turned the settings down because it was almost distractingly good, but mainly just to get the FPS up a little bit and just to be a little bit less demanding while I'm streaming, for example. But if you whack it up to maximum settings, the game is absolutely gorgeous. This is something Codemasters are very good at, and I don't think we really need to talk about that too much. So in terms of the content, so the car list I think is decent enough. It's not overwhelmingly large, and the same with the location list. 6 locations, each with about 8 to 12 stages, although some of those are reverse stages. So it's not like you're getting completely new stages. Some of them are reverse. And this is maybe the one downside I would have with the game, is just the overall amount of content, and just whether or not you'll be able to play that for a very long time. For hardcore rally fans, it's fine because you can just keep perfecting the same stages and really get that perfect time after lots of practice. But it could be an issue that the six locations with the amount of stages they have isn't quite enough. Although I must add, of course, that there is the Rallycross, and if you're a big fan of Rallycross, then this is a really good game because, of course, you have 8 Rallycross stages which all feature in the official FIA Rallycross Championship. So Rallycross fans will be very happy, I think, about that. So in addition to the 6 stages, there is going to be DLC. So if you buy the deluxe edition, then you're going to get the season 1 and season 2 of the DLC as part of that package, or you can of course just buy it separately. So this is something that I'm not really a fan of, the fact that there's a lot of content that is being kind of held back, which is kind of ready already, but you're not getting it. You have to kind of buy it. Obviously, a lot of game developers do this these days. I'm totally not a fan of it. I think if the content is there, if it's ready, just put it in the base game. So of course you can make your own opinion about that. I'll say the location list is good. The car list is slightly better than good. With the DLC, it'll make it better. But ultimately, I would like to see slightly more on this front, and ideally have it all in the base game. Okay, let's move on to the multiplayer experience. Now, this was something a little bit lacking, I would say. So you find public lobbies, or you create your own one, and people join in, of course. Or maybe not, maybe you'll be forever alone. But even though it was multiplayer, it still felt like quite a lonely experience. It was quite strange. So when you're racing online, in a rally this is, by the way, so of course in Rallycross, it's exactly what you expect. It's quite aggressive, and you can see all the other people. You're racing directly against them, and you can make contact. So we know kind of what multiplayer Rallycross feels like. But when it comes to the rally, it still felt kind of lonely, in the sense that there's no ghosting. You can't see your opponents. The only way you can see them really is by the marker on the left hand side of the screen as you progress through the stage, and you can see where the other people are on the stage as well. So you can kind of compare where you are, and also on the top right of the screen you can see the positions. But it's nothing like Dirt 2 and 3 where you can race directly live with ghosts, and you can really see exactly where they are. So yes, it's multiplayer, but it also has a feel of single player about it. Now you can look at this two ways, because of course in real rally it is quite a lonely experience, because you're always racing on your own. It's not like track racing where you're racing against other people directly. So of course in one way it's very realistic, it kind of is like that. But on the other hand, I'm kind of disappointed to not see a little bit more development on the multiplayer front, because it kind of feels a little bit lacking in development from the first game. I just wish there was direct ghost racing, so something just to spice up a little bit. Maybe the fact that you can actually see your opponents, but obviously you can't hit them, but go through them. Something like that would be something to enhance the multiplayer experience a little bit, but as it is in its current form, it feels a little bit lonely. But I think the main premise really is just that you complete the stages for the fun of it, and just try to beat other people in a live situation, as opposed to maybe just setting a time on the leaderboard, which isn't really a live direct battle. Another thing maybe about the multiplayer is the fact that there is no ranking or anything, so you kind of just complete the stage and then that's it, you're just done, you move on to the next one. There's nothing really to build up to. You don't level up or unlock rewards or anything like that. There's no stats of how you've done, how many races or how many stages you've won. So it's kind of just do a race, do as many races as you want, and then back out. There's nothing else about it. So the multiplayer kind of feels a little bit bare bones to me, I would say. I still very much enjoy it, but I just wish there was a little bit more development on it. Now the time trial mode, I think this is the best mode in the game. I think this is the thing that I will keep coming back to. The fact that you can go to a leaderboard, you can choose a certain discipline of car, Group B or Historics, or the Rally GT, whichever one you like. Choose a certain stage and just try to get the best possible time you can and beat as many people as possible on the leaderboard. I think this is the best thing about the game. I think this is the thing that people will keep coming back to, and this is what the game is very strong at. I was worried going into the game, the fact that you wouldn't be able to look at the leaderboard before loading into the stage, but you can now. You can look at the leaderboard, see where you are, or see who's at the top or whatever, and then choose your car and try and beat them. So I think this is the mode that people will be coming back to the most. So for those of you who enjoyed doing this on Dirt Rally 1, then it's going to be very much the same experience on Dirt Rally 2, of course with just different stages. So we've got some extra features such as the track degradation and tyre compounds. This just adds another little element to the game. And the track degradation actually works very well. Being a simulation kind of game that it is, so it's not, it really isn't an arcade game. So it does add another element to the simulation factor. It makes it a little bit more difficult, it gives you something else to think about, and I do like that. And also with the tyre compounds too, the fact that you have to really be selective with your compounds, and also that sort of feeds into the idea of how unforgiving this game can be, which is what I really like about it. The fact that sometimes you're stringing together 4 stages, so you might want to go for medium tyres or hard tyres with better longevity or better grip. The choice is up to you, and then of course you have to drive carefully such that you don't get too much damage, which will ruin your car for the next stage. So there's something that I really like about the game, the fact that you have to kind of think ahead. It's not just about doing one rally and just absolutely maximising it. You kind of have to think about how your car is going to survive over the course of 4, 5 or 6 stages. And then you've got this little damage system, so fixing the car, giving it a quick fix. You've only got like half an hour, you've got limited time to fix your car. You can choose different gradients of how much you can fix the car. I really like this, it's kind of simple, but it does it well. This is what I like about this game, and I would summarise this game in this way. It's very simple, but it does it very well. And if I had to give the game a score out of 10, I'll give it 8, up towards maybe 8.5, between that kind of range, 8 to 8.5 out of 10. I think for the physics and the graphics, that kind of thing, it's absolutely exceptional. The thing holding it back is just the content and what's there. The amount of tracks, the amount of cars, which aren't too bad, but could be better. Also, the fact that the multiplayer experience is just a little bit lacking and just feels a little bit empty. If we had a little bit of improvement in those kind of areas, then I'd be really happy. I kind of long for the days of Dirt 2 and Dirt 3. The multiplayer experiences in those games were by far the best in the whole Dirt series, I think. So something along those kind of lines. I know it's kind of hard, maybe because this is more of a simulation game, but I think they could try to incorporate some of the features in those older games into this one to make it, truly perfect, like 10 out of 10 kind of game. But as it is, still a very solid game. Is it worth buying? Absolutely. For those of you hardcore rally fans out there, I would definitely recommend the game. And even for other players who maybe aren't into rally games, you're more into track racing games, or might not even be into racing games at all, I'll still suggest giving it a try and giving yourself a challenge on a different type of game. I really do think that this game, it gives me a really good feeling of trying to improve myself, and even if I'm crashing over and over again, I always get that feeling I want to start again and do it properly, and if I crash again, I want to go back to the start and do it again. So I've always got this feeling that I want to come back to the game and just get better and better and better at it. So it's got this appeal to it. So even though there might not be tons and tons and tons of content, I still feel as though I want to keep playing it and keep improving. So overall, I've really enjoyed my experience on Dirt Rally 2. Let me know your experiences of the game as well. And if you have any questions, of course, then do ask in the comments down below. So that brings a close to my review of Dirt Rally 2. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you found it useful in any way, then do consider hitting that like button and maybe subscribing for more of the same. But that's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching. I shall see you next time. Goodbye.